Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're stepping onto some pretty unsettling ground. We're journeying into the heart of the unexplained, looking at these really raw personal accounts. These aren't just stories. They're shared by real people who faced things they just couldn't make sense of, things that stared back from the edge of the known. Our mission here is to explore those moments, those terrifying instances when the veil between our world and something else feels incredibly thin. We've gone through a lot of these direct testimonies, these sources, to pull out the core insights into what happens when the impossible comes knocking.
And it's deeply human, isn't it, to want explanations, to categorize things, but the experiences we're about to discuss, they really push back against that. These encounters, they often leave people questioning their whole reality. It's profound. And you start to see patterns, maybe even ways to classify these uninvited guests.
Absolutely. Let's start where we should feel safest. Imagine your home turning into, well, a place of terror. This first account is from 2015. Someone living with their girlfriend, just making dinner, music playing, normal stuff. Okay, so the first weird thing. The Spotify volume knob, the physical knob on the speaker, was turned down to 0. From maximum, they turn it back up, right? Minutes later, it's down on 1. This isn't some app glitch. It's the actual knob being turned.
That physical manipulation is key. It immediately suggests something more than just, faulty wiring or imagination. It's interaction.
Exactly. Then it escalates fast. They start hearing things on the floor in the studio next door. At first, only he heard it. Then his girlfriend did too. They go in there, objects thrown around, lights switching on, then off, TV on, just static, no open windows, no draft. It felt deliberate.
Yeah, escalating activity is common in these cases. It's like the entity is testing boundaries, trying to get a reaction.
Terrified, obviously. His girlfriend suggests praying. So they do. And when they finish praying, get this, an inflatable punching toy, which they knew was in the studio. It's now sitting right outside the kitchen door, like it was placed there, waiting.
Oh, wow. That's incredibly unsettling. The timing right after the prayer, it feels like a direct response, almost defiant.
And then the final straw. The intercom doorbell starts ringing.
Over and over.
Nobody there. Lights in the house blinking like crazy. That's it. They just ran, fled to a cousin's house. But it doesn't stop there.
It often doesn't, unfortunately. Leaving doesn't always end it.
Right. So they go back later with the cousin, armed with holy water. And they can hear loud music blasting from inside, even from the street. Inside, the inflatable toy moved again. Speaker knob cranked to maximum, all the lights on. Like a bizarre party happened while they were gone. And here's a really specific chilling part. On the Spotify browser, someone or something had typed Regone, R-E-G-O-N-E, and reggae music was playing, a genre the narrator absolutely hated, never listened to it.
That is, wow. That's incredibly specific. It's not just random chaos, it's targeted. Using something personal like music taste. It fits squarely into what we'd call intelligent poltergeist activity. It's interactive, it's communicating, however strangely. That reggae detail feels almost like a taunt.
A taunt, exactly.
Yeah.
So after the cousin used the holy water, the activity stopped completely. The narrator went from total skeptic to believer in one night. They threw the toy away. Understandably.
A classic case study in how profound these experiences can be, shifting someone's entire worldview.
It's a home invasion of the mind, almost. Yeah. Okay, let's shift to another domestic terror, but this one involves a child. Adds a whole new layer of fear. This is from a 27-year-old woman. Her husband works nights, so she's often alone with their 1-year-old daughter. They'd been in this rental for 3 years. Now, there had been some subtle things before, a phantom doorbell early on. Her husband saw shadow people, had sleep paralysis, things she'd mostly dismissed.
Common precursors, sometimes. Easy to rationalize away individually.
Right. And weirdly, after their daughter was born, everything stopped. Complete quiet. Until last night, as she puts it, her daughter wakes up around midnight. She brings her into bed with her. She's awake, just scrolling Hulu on her phone. And then the foot of the bed frame lifts. The whole foot of the bed, with her and her daughter in it. Lifts, she says, half a foot off the ground and then slams back down hard.
Oh my goodness, that's a significant physical event, not just a tremor, a levitation.
And her daughter slept right through it, didn't stir.
Which is almost stranger, isn't it? Adds to the high strangeness.
She was absolutely frozen in terror. First thought, someone's under the bed. But then realization, impossible. Not enough space. She grabs her daughter like football style, leaps off the bed, runs out, calls her husband, calls her mom, just completely falling apart.
Understandably. That's pure fight or flight terror.
And it wasn't over. While she's on the phone, the kitchen lights start dimming. Slower and slower. until he was completely out. She just waited outside in the yard with her baby until her husband got there. He searched the whole house, found absolutely nothing disturbed, nothing out of place. And she said that made her more scared because there was no explanation.
Right. The lack of a physical cause makes the impossible explanation the only one left.
She's staying at her mom's now.
Yeah.
Terrified to be alone at night. Her parents, especially her mom, who's into this stuff, they totally believe her.
That physical manifestation, the bed lifting, it's just undeniable for the witness.
Yeah.
And with the child present, the protective instinct kicks in, amplifying the fear. It really shows that escalation we sometimes see, from maybe shadows and sounds to something powerfully physical. And the husband's earlier experiences, it suggests maybe a persistent presence.
That connection to a child really raises the stakes. Okay, let's explore that further, how children seem sensitive to these things, or how dark histories linger. This next story involves an infant in a house with a secret. It's from a 22-year-old woman, 6 months pregnant back in 2016, moving into a new rental with her husband. Nice community, they were excited, baby boy is born, healthy, sleeps fine in the hospital. But the very first night they bring him home, everything changes. He just screams. Constantly. In his crib. Not a normal baby cry, she says, but like he was in pain, night after night.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. And exhausting for new parents.
Absolutely. And the mother starts having these awful nightmares, her son being hurt, her unable to reach him. Doctors say postpartum anxiety, meds, counseling. Nothing helps the nightmares or the baby screaming. When the baby turns 3 months old, the screaming becomes constant, day and night. And she has this incredibly vivid, specific nightmare. Her son is on fire and screaming, and she's stuck watching, unable to move or scream herself. Wakes up absolutely terrified.
That's incredibly specific and disturbing. A premonition almost.
Yep. Seems like it. Days later, she's talking to her next-door neighbor, this older lady who's lived there forever, since the 70s. She mentions the baby's nonstop screaming and her awful dreams about fires in the house. And the neighbor's face just drops, goes white, looks horrified. The neighbor tells her, there was a fire in that house a few years ago, faulty wiring. A young family lived there then, with a baby, 3-month-old baby boy. And the baby passed away in the fire. The house was renovated afterwards.
Oh, no. That is absolutely chilling. The direct correlation.
Complete shock. The narrator immediately tells her husband, we have to leave now.
Ooh.
They just packed the baby up, drove straight to her brother-in-law's place in the next town. And the moment they get there, that first night away from the house, their son sleeps through the entire night. For the very first time. Not a single peep.
And he never screamed like that ever again.
Wow. Just wow. The immediacy of the change is stunning.
They broke the lease, found a new place, never went back.
This story is incredibly powerful. It connects the baby's distress, the mother's intuition and nightmares, and the house's tragic past so directly. It really speaks to maybe a residual haunting, an imprint of that trauma. The baby, being so open, might have been sensing that intense, lingering sorrow, and the mother's connection, picking up on it through dreams. It's like the house itself, or the lingering echo of that tragedy, was crying out.
It's just incredible. The baby acting as a sort of psychic barometer for the house's history.
It certainly seems that way, whether it's purely residual energy or something more conscious. Attached to the location, the effect was undeniable.
That sensitivity of children is a recurring theme. Here's another one, involving a slightly older child and a disturbing picture. Family trip to rural New England. Narrator, his wife, father, 3-year-old son. Staying in a guest house with lots of photos around, their son starts acting really withdrawn, quiet, and he keeps avoiding his grandfather, who happens to be sitting near this one particular photo. The photo is of a rundown room, kind of dark, especially one corner. So they ask the son what's wrong. And he just says, very matter-of-factly, the bad man in the picture is looking at me. He's very cold and he's not nice.
Chilling, especially coming from a 3-year-old. So direct.
Right. The narrator looks, sees no man in the picture, but gets instant chills. Later, they find out from their cousin who took the photo that it was taken at an abandoned farm upstate. A favorite photo of his, but one that always creeped his aunt out.
So the photo itself had a known unsettling quality.
Yeah. And the son keeps talking about this bad man.
Yeah.
Says the man wants to hurt him. Then one night, the boy just trips. For no apparent reason, crying hysterically. He says, the bad man hurt me on the leg. And sure enough, there's a large, fresh bruise on his leg.
Whoa, okay, so it escalated from perception to actual physical harm. That's a significant jump.
Definitely. So they ask him, how can the man hurt you? He's in the picture downstairs. And the little boy replies, he's not down there. He comes up here when we go to bed.
Oh, that is terrifying. The idea that it's not contained, that it's mobile.
Yeah. They packed up immediately and moved into the main house with the rest of the family. Didn't spend another night in the guest house.
Again, it highlights that sensitivity children seem to possess, but this one, the entity being linked to an object, the photo, yet able to move and inflict physical harm, it's deeply disturbing. It suggests something intelligent, malevolent, and capable of projection or movement far beyond the confines of the photo itself. It's not just looking, it's interacting dangerously.
The photo was an anchor, but not a prison. That's a scary thought.
Very. It raises questions about objects acting as conduits or attachments for entities.
Okay, from creepy photos to something far more visceral. This next one involves a truly demonic-seeming encounter experienced by a teenager. The narrator was 14, living in his mother's apartment. It was part of a really old farmhouse, like 150, maybe 200 years old. Already had a creepy vibe. His mom heard noises too. He's just playing his Nintendo 64. Puts the controller down for a second. When he reaches back for it, he sees right next to it on the floor a hoof, like a horse's hoof. And he says it had insects and blood coming out of the sliver.
Oh, wow. That's incredibly specific and grotesque imagery.
He slowly looks up from the hoof, and there's this demonic figure staring right back at him, leaning down, grinning the most evil smile. He describes it as having black eyes, a red face, being a one-winged creature with blood dripping from its teeth.
That description is intense. Straight out of nightmares, but vividly detailed.
He has an immediate panic attack, blacks out, comes to lying on the floor, can barely move, and he says the figure, still in the chair, was just laughing, like it had drained him, sucked dry his fear and energy.
That feeling of energy drain is often reported in encounters with entities perceived as demonic or intensely negative.
He manages to crawl to his mother, tells her what happened, and she believes him instantly. Because she tells him she saw the exact same thing earlier that week. She just hadn't told him because she didn't want to scare him.
The corroboration is powerful. Two people seeing the same highly specific, terrifying entity independently that lends significant weight. This account moves beyond a typical ghost sighting. The description, the malevolence, the energy drain, the corroboration, it strongly aligns with characteristics often associated with non-human, possibly demonic entities.
It feels like a different category of entity entirely, doesn't it? Not just a lingering spirit.
Absolutely. The intent seems predatory, feeding on fear rather than just residual energy or confusion.
Truly chilling. Let's shift gears slightly now to encounters that are just baffling, beyond easy classification. This first one is from someone who explicitly states they're a non-believer, not religious, not spiritual, just walks their dog every night in a very nice private community. One night, maybe 80, 100 meters ahead, they see a figure moving down the road. They describe it as a person wearing a slightly luminescent white hat skipping down the street.
Okay, slightly luminescent, skipping. Unusual, but maybe explainable so far?
Maybe, but here are the details. There wasn't much light, hard to see clearly, but the movement was wrong. It was like slow motion, almost suspended in air in between jumps, and completely silent. No sound at all.
Full of motion, suspended. Okay, that changes things. That defies normal physics.
They yell out, "Hello!" No response. And they look down at their dog. The dog is whimpering, tail tucked tightly between its legs. Terrified. And this is key. The dog never acts like this. Usually barks, gets excited, pulls. Never scared.
Ah, the animal reaction. For a non-believer, that's often the turning point. Animals sensing something deeply wrong, something they can't perceive.
Exactly. The narrator said that's when the genuine terror hit. They immediately turned around, kept glancing back, and basically ran home.
I don't blame them. The combination of the physically impossible movement and the dog's extreme fear, it points to something truly anomalous. Not necessarily a ghost in the traditional sense, but perhaps something else. Interdimensional, non-human. The physics are just wrong.
Yeah, wrong is the word. Okay, next, a very brief but incredibly strange sighting. Narrator is 17, driving with his dad. Early summer morning, long stretch of forest road in Oregon. And for like an hour and a half, maybe more, they're the only car on this road, which is weird for a populated area. Eerily quiet.
That isolation itself is strange, like being in a bubble.
Exactly. Then, for just a few seconds, the trees open up into a clearing. And in that clearing, he sees two men. Black suits, black sunglasses, black gloves, black shoes. Classic Men in Black look. And they are tying a big, hairy creature to a tree.
Whoa. Okay, Men in Black and a cryptid, that's a potent combination.
Right. And the creepiest part, the two men look up directly at the narrator in the car. He said it was like they knew that I saw them.
Yeah.
Just locked eyes for that second.
That direct acknowledgement. Chills. That's classic MIB behavior in folklore. the awareness.
His dad, meanwhile, is focused on driving, looking at the GPS, sees absolutely nothing, and as soon as they pass that clearing and leave that specific stretch of forest, suddenly other cars appear. Traffic is normal again.
Wow. The sudden shift back to normalcy after the encounter, again, classic high strangeness associated with MIB and similar phenomena. It implies manipulation perception or maybe even localized reality distortion. And the creature, Bigfoot, something else, tied up. So many questions.
It's such a bizarre, fleeting image, but packed with weirdness. Okay, one more in this vein. This involved a hunter experiencing multiple strange things over time. She's 25, female hunter, spent a lot of time with her partner in a hunting stand on their property out in the woods trying to catch hogs, often late at night. So first event, maybe 2 weeks before she wrote this, right 1 or 2 a.m. Here's this weird whirring or flapping sound, really loud, airborne, passes quickly right over the tree line. She says, definitely not a drone, not a helicopter, not a bird. Sounded too mechanical, but like nothing she recognized.
Unidentified aerial phenomena, perhaps. Strange sounds are often reported with UAPs.
Maybe. Then event 2, about a week later. They're at home, still on the same property, 9 or 10 p.m. Suddenly, this distant boom, like an explosion, shakes their house. Her sister-in-law, who lives down the road, calls immediately asking what was that. Later, her partner finds an old emergency management website mentioning an unknown explosion reported back in 2016 in the exact same area.
Okay, so a history of unexplained booms that adds another layer. Seismic, atmospheric, or something stranger.
Right. And then event 3, just the night before she wrote this, back in the hunting stand, 10:30 p.m., cold, rainy night. She hears weird murmuring, like muffled voices off in the distance. It sounds like multiple people talking, but too far away to make out words. And it's coming from deep in the woods where there are absolutely no houses, no reason for people to be.
Muffled voices in the deep woods, that's classic creepy territory. Could be auditory pareidolia or something else.
And get this, her partner, who has some hearing damage, didn't hear the voices. He heard something different. He heard what sounded like a cow moaning, but not quite. But there's no grazing land anywhere near there, no cows. The sound, whatever it was, seemed to rise in intensity, then just faded away after maybe 30 seconds.
Different people hearing different anomalous sounds simultaneously. That's fascinating and deeply strange. Cow moaning, but not quite, is very specific.
She emphasizes how indistinct it all was, but the main thing was this overwhelming gut feeling of being watched and noticed.
That feeling, that primal sense of being observed by something unseen. It's a powerful psychological component of many paranormal experiences, especially in isolated natural settings. The accumulation here is what's really interesting. The weird aerial sound, the explosion echo, the strange voices moaning. It paints a picture of a location with high strangeness, a potential window area.
A window area, like a place where weird stuff just happens more often.
Exactly. Some locations seem prone to a variety of phenomena, UAPs, cryptids, hauntings, maybe thinner boundaries between realities or unique energy properties. The cumulative effect is deeply unsettling.
Definitely. Okay, let's wrap up with a few stories that suggest really direct interaction. Like the veil isn't just thin, something's actively reaching through. First, this story about a doll. A doll bought specifically because it supposedly had an attachment. The narrator decides to test this out right away in the car using an EMF meter and a spirit box.
Okay, using the ghost hunting tech. EMF meters detect electromagnetic fields. Spirit boxes scan radio frequencies, hoping spirits can manipulate the sounds into words. Controversial, but common tools.
Right. So the EMF meter spikes, and the spirit box clearly says, don't. The narrator stops, apologizes to the doll, speaks kindly to whatever spirit might be there.
Acknowledging it, trying to show respect. Interesting approach.
Later, at home, they try again. EMF meter, spirit box. This time, the spirit box says higher when the narrator isn't holding the EMF meter high enough near the doll.
Direct instruction, that's unusual.
Then ask, what do you want me to do? And then the spirit apparently makes the EMF meter bottom out, go completely dead instead of spiking. Narrator asks, can you make it go the other way? And the meter spikes. It did.
Wow. Okay, that suggests direct, intelligent manipulation of the device in response to requests. That's significant interaction.
Then comes the absolute stunner. The spirit box asks, am I dead? The narrator, believing this is a spirit, answers honestly, yes. They ask the spirit for its name. The spirit box says, soon, and then silence. All the activity just stopped, almost like he was in shock of finding out that it was dead and needed time to process it.
That is profoundly unique. The idea of an entity having that moment of realization through interaction, it's incredibly poignant and deeply unsettling. It suggests a level of consciousness, confusion, and maybe even dawning awareness that goes far beyond typical ghost behavior.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
It really is. That question, am I dead? Followed by silence. It sticks with you. Okay, next, a very modern haunting. A digital intrusion. Narrator lives alone. Always closes his MacBook Pro, leaves it on the floor at night. It's shut down. Off. About a week before writing, he starts hearing typing from the MacBook after he's gone to sleep. Like keyboard clicks for several minutes from a closed, shut down laptop.
Typing on a closed, powered-off machine. That's technically impossible, right?
Pretty much. It happens every night. Sometimes soon after he falls asleep, sometimes hours later, and only when he's asleep or trying to sleep. Never happens when he's awake and using the computer.
That timing is interesting, only when he's vulnerable, essentially.
And recently, it's gotten worse. Now he also hears a weird gush of winds around his windows, loud noises, plus the typing. He's terrified. Thought about setting up surveillance, but then thought, what's the point? The laptop is closed. He's wondering if it's paranormal, notes others have reported similar things.
This feels like a modern twist, doesn't it? A sort of digital poltergeist. This specificity is fascinating. Targeting the device, the timing linked to his sleep state, it implies an intelligence that understands the environment and how to interact with it, even technologically, in a disturbing way.
It's like the haunting is adapting to our times. Creepy.
Very. It suggests entities aren't just limited to rattling chains or opening doors anymore.
Okay, one last story. Perfectly timed, perfectly creepy message. Narrator staying in an old farmhouse, Northern Ireland, sleeping in a room. There's a radio in there, but he didn't even know if it worked. Assumed it didn't. Middle of the night, he wakes up because the radio is on. Blasting. It's just playing random channel songs, some talking, scanning through stations.
Okay, radio malfunction, power surge. Possible explanations?
Maybe. But then the radio settles. It stops scanning and lands on one specific song, Hello by Dragonette. And it plays this exact line. Kind of like this thing, but there's something you should know. I just came to say hello. I can stick around and get along with you now.
I just came to say hello. Wow, that specific lyric, that's poignant.
Incredibly. Right after that line plays, he grabs his phone to check the time. It was 3:33 a.m.
3:33 a.m., the classic time.
Often associated with paranormal activity, the witching hour, or sometimes mockery of the Holy Trinity. That timing adds another layer of intention.
Exactly. So the next morning, he goes check the radio properly. Not only was the main power switch on the wall turned OFF, but the radio's own power button deal was also in the OFS position. It would have needed someone to physically turn both on and tune it.
Okay, double confirmation, it couldn't have turned on by itself through normal means. That rules out malfunction. So the timing, 3:33, the specific, welcoming yet creepy lyrics, and the physical impossibility of it being on, that points to a highly intelligent, communicative, and frankly, theatrical entity. A direct, undeniable message.
Masterclass in paranormal creepiness, like you said. Okay, let's try and process all of this. We've heard about an infant's cries echoing a past tragedy, a bed lifting off the floor, ghostly party crashers with specific musical tastes even. Well, conversations with spirits realizing they're dead. These aren't just scary stories. They feel like real glimpses into moments when the ordinary world just cracked open.
And what's striking is the sheer range, isn't it? From those subtle feelings of being watched, the muffled voices, all the way to full demonic apparitions and physical levitation. It covers such a broad spectrum of phenomena. And if these accounts are genuine experiences, it really forces us to ask, what does this imply about the nature of reality itself? What else is out there, just beyond our normal perception?
So what does this all mean for you listening right now? Maybe it's not just about the thrill of the scare. Maybe these accounts challenge us to think about what's truly possible and what might be waiting when we least expect it, when that veil gets terrifyingly thin. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the unexplained. If these stories send a chill down your spine, definitely hit that like button. Share this deep dive with your friends who love a good scare. And make sure you subscribe to our channel, Horror Docx, for more true tales guaranteed to keep you on the edge of your seat. We'll see you next time.